Welcome to Hotter Than Ever, where we uncover the unconscious rules we've been following, we break those rules, and we find a new path to being freer, happier, sexier, and more satisfied in the second half of our lives. I'm your host, Erin Keating. Welcome to everyone listening today. I am so glad you're here. I am going to be taking a hiatus from making this show at the end of the year to focus on my new business. And you can finally check out that new business. It's called Broad Collective. You can check it out at www.broadcollective.com. And that is all I'm going to say in this episode. I hope you're enjoying being teased. I'm really enjoying and cherishing this run of episodes this fall and the opportunity to connect with all of you, whether you're new to the show or whether you have been a devoted listener since we launched in 2023, which is about 100 years ago by my count. This episode is another one in my series of conversations where I talk to guests about what it's like to be in a couple that is open-hearted, communicative, intentional, and hot. Because honestly, this remains a complete mystery to me. As a person who was in a 17-year marriage and a 20-year relationship, that I don't even recognize the person who lived that life today. I have grown so much when it comes to dating and love and relationships and my own sense of myself. But this kind of relationship that you're going to hear about today, it remains a complete fucking mystery to me. I mean, I have had so many different kinds of relationship dynamics over the past several years with men, from true love to casual flings. And this is the kind of relationship that I am totally mystified by. How people actually find someone who is worthy of their time and their energy and their focus, someone who's communicative and intentional and owns their own stuff and is also sexually compatible, energetically compatible, have a shared worldview or a compatible worldview. They want to do the same thing on a given weekend or can communicate about what it is that they want. I mean, honestly, I know that some of you must be in this kind of relationship. But I am getting cut off at the knees with online dating these days. And it'll either go down one of two paths. One is sort of more relational, right? I'm like, oh, you're a potential boyfriend type of person, like a person I could be dating and like go out in the world with and maybe have you meet my friends and enjoy your company. And then maybe it becomes something real. Or there's the decidedly different path of guys, which I'm also open to, who are hot and want to be in a relationship that's more casual and sexually oriented on a regular basis. Hopefully we like each other enough that we'll be together on a regular basis casually. But, you know, something is happening in the universe with me and men because these days I get a lot of interest and attention online. And then everything either completely falls apart before it manifests, or I get ghosted. We've like made a casual plan to meet up on a Saturday night and I don't hear anything from them on the Saturday. It just simply doesn't happen. Or I go on a date with someone and it is a total dud. Or I go on a date with someone and it's really sweet and then we end up fooling around and it's unsatisfying because they suck in bed. It is unbelievable to me with all the experience that I've had over the last several years, much of which you have been privy to, darling listeners, that this is where I find myself today. I am 54 years old. I am happy. I am healthy. I have never been more fit. I have never been stronger, more self-confident. I have never felt more self-possessed or gorgeous in the world. I am really attractive to myself today. And I think that's the essence of it, right? That's the essence of living a good life, is being just magnetically attracted to yourself, who you are and how you show up in the world. And on the external side, I am taking incredible, impeccable care of myself. I'm taking fucking creatine because it's supposed to be good for your muscles. I'm doing gut health stuff. I'm taking probiotics out the wazoo. My skin looks good. I'm just so healthy and open and free and fun. And my dating life is a dud. It is just a dud. And as you know, I have had long-term, consistent lovers, friends with benefits. And maybe some have come and gone, but there have always been folks there. No, that's not going on for me these days. Clearly, the universe has other plans for me. And so I need to be patient and focus on myself and on building my business and doing the internal work and the logistical work to manifest the full, complete life that I am working on. I know you're working on yours too. I know in my heart of hearts that the epic, super connected, super sexy, honest, emotional love that I am dreaming of is on its way to me. But the universe has its own timing, and I am not in charge of that, as frustrating as that is. So I will continue to put myself out there, and I will continue to study and inquire and learn. And that is what leads me to this conversation with Rono and Sierra today. Rono and Sierra are the founders of Eden World. Eden World is a relationship-focused community for couples. And this is a place where power couples, and this is a different use of the phrase power couples, can connect with other committed, conscious couples, community builders, and visionaries who care about having a great relationship. And we are going to deconstruct and get into what all of this language means and what a conscious couple is in this conversation. Rono and Sierra are lifelong friends who became business partners, and then they became a romantic couple. And they're really open to talking about how they make all of that work. They live from the primary principle in their life and in their work with Eden World that relationship is our North Star. They also drop a lot of wisdom in this conversation. One thing that really resonated with me was their notion that what's in the way is the way. Oh my God, I'm going to say that again. What's in the way is the way. Like, this idea encourages couples to address their most persistent conflicts head on, because they believe that these difficulties are the exact path needed for growth, transformation, and achieving a deeper, more evolved connection. And my head is exploding because of course that is true. But who can see that when you're inside of it? And then who can be a couple that is really willing to notice it and go there in a way that is safe and constructive and positive? They talk about what it's like to be a conscious couple where each member is self-aware and willing to take personal responsibility, treating their partnership as a path of mutual growth. And if I sound skeptical, it's only because I've never lived in a relationship like this. Are you living in a relationship like this? Do you and your partner, if you have one, treat your partnership as a path of mutual growth? God, I really want that for you. And I really want that for me too. They give some practical tips about how to have epic date nights. So make sure to listen for that, because those make the relationship more fun and deepen your connection and enjoyment of each other. And isn't that the whole fucking point? Anyway, I think you're going to like this one. All right, let's get hot. Rono and Sierra, welcome to Hotter Than Ever.
All right. Woohoo. I love it. Hotter than ever.
I am so happy to have you here because I don't have any idea what it's like to be in the kind of relationship where you would even think to join the kind of community that you run.
And so I need to be let in, and I think of the listeners of this podcast need to be let in through the shallow end to Eden World and what you've created and what you do there. So let's start at the very beginning, because I have never heard of a community for couples other than like the patriarchy or whatever. But this is a very successful business that you've been running online and in the real world for the last 8 years. How did you come together? How did you come to start Eden World?
Big question. Do you want me to start?
I know. You know.
All right.
Yeah, go for it, love.
So, Rono and I have been business partners before we even became a romantic item. And so we love doing business. We love creating things together. We love working together. It's come with its unique challenges. But
Sure.
out of that journey, it became very clear to us when our power dynamics started showing up in our relationship once we turned romantic that we probably needed some support around that dynamic. And when we looked around at like what could support us, we weren't really needing therapy necessarily. We weren't necessarily needing coaching, but we were looking to learn from other couples. And at the time, we were also involved in a lot of entrepreneurial masterminds, business masterminds. And we kept thinking, could there be a mastermind or a club that would support couples like us, couples who are on path together, on a mission together, and also that we could learn, just like in a mastermind, you learn from other business owners. Well, how could you learn from other couples? And at the time, we also we were ideating this. We also had a business partner couple, they were friends of ours that was also in business. And we very quickly were able to work on some of the stuff that was up just by their reflections and their sharing. So all of this gave us the idea to like, well, let's create this community for other couples to learn from each other and evolve the way we love and live.
I love that so much because it's so mindful. It's like, okay, here we are. We're in business together, then we fall in love. Now we're in a relationship and in business together, which I've heard a bunch of people, a number of people who've been on the podcast are in business with their romantic partners. But then you want to create something that's about that. And you're not therapists, you're not coaches. So I love talk to me about the peer-to-peer part of it, because like a couple giving another couple advice sounds like potentially really helpful and also potentially really dodgy. Nobody's an expert.
Right. So it's super fascinating. So one of the things that we say is that we have very specific agreements when we go into these couples containers, and one of them is don't be coaching each other. Don't actually give each other advice, which is interesting. But just share your experience, share what you heard, share the different aspects about your relationship. And so the biggest difference between coaching and therapy, therapy is about looking at the past, coaching is about looking forward. And what's awesome about peer-to-peer, it's about looking right now. Like what's happening right now, and just hearing other people share, this is what's up for me and this is what's going on. Even just like, thanks for sharing, and not even trying to fix it, but just in the act of sharing, it creates transformation. It creates awareness. It creates understanding.
Normalization.
Normalization. Everyone's like, oh my God, thank you for normalizing this. I thought I was so alone. And so we like to say that the biggest difference is that you're on the court with your game versus in theory when it's coaching, because it's usually just one person that's coaching a couple, or one therapist that's coaching it. And sometimes those therapists don't even have a relationship. They're just certified marriage counselors, but they're not even in a relationship. So when you're with other couples that want a great relationship and are doing the best that they can, it can get dodgy at times, but that's where we do have coaching support and the communal aspect, so that we can be like, hey, we're having a hard time over here. Who can help us out with this? So we do have experts in therapy. And therapy and coaching is awesome too, just to be clear. Yeah. But this is like the one unique thing that we found for us has transcended us more than our coaches, more than our therapists, more than anything else. Just that, oh, thanks, I'm not alone. I don't feel so bad about this whole thing that's been going on.
And you made it through, and wow, we see a path now.
Can you give an example of the kind of things that one couple will be able to mirror for another couple?
Sure.
in a setting that you create.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things, but I would say so. Say a couple's dealing with mismatched libido. That's a very common,
Standard.
right? Very standard.
Yeah.
And somebody's thinking, you fall into the pattern of either like, oh, there's something wrong with me, or somebody's feeling rejected, and so they're in this dynamic like somebody's got to fix something. Then you get them in a room with other couples talking about their sex lives, and somebody else is sharing the exact same situation. But yet they might be a little further along, or they may have figured out some practices that have helped them, or they read a great book that gave them a specific tool or idea. And then all of a sudden, not only do you feel like, oh, wow, this major issue that was been feeling like, oh, there's something so wrong with me or us or it, is now like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And you're dealing with that. And you just gave me a great tip or tool. Okay. I can do that. It's just a release valve of the shame and the adversarial nature that comes with being in your couples bubble where you don't have that perspective, that broader
No
perspective.
perspective in the couple bubble. No.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So when you say it's a community of conscious couples, I live in Los Angeles and I hang out with some folks in Venice, and that's where I hear the word conscious, like conscious community, conscious couples, conscious sexuality. And I tie it a little bit to a little bit of a Burning Man ethos, a little bit of a like spiritualist ethos, which is general and is non-specific. Tell me what you mean when you say conscious couples.
It's a great question because I think it does get thrown around a lot, that word.
Yeah.
So I'll jump in and Rono add, along the way. So for us, it means self-aware. It means the willingness to take personal responsibility, which is actually one of our 12 principles that we have that we practice in Eden World, but to really take ownership for how you show up and do the work within your own sovereignty in which to then have a better relationship with the world, really, relationship with others, relationship, with the world. And so it is about a level of awareness that I would say makes somebody conscious or unconscious. And that awareness to me, I feel like is about self-awareness more than anything. And then self-awareness in relationship to other. Anything you'd add, Rono?
Yeah, I think that I think you nailed it, and it's about personal responsibility and coupleship as path, and so where it's like Sierra and I desire to be the best human beings that we possibly can, and the only way that we're going to get there is to reflect, to have some awareness, some consciousness of what's happening in this vessel that I call Rono. And relationship, you may have heard sacred mirrors, you may have heard like different ways that relationship brings up all the stuff, whether it's family relationships, but as soon as you start having sex with somebody, all of a sudden all your stuff comes up and you can't do anything about it because you've got all these other chemicals overriding these other aspects of your body. And so then you're like, well, it's you, and it's really not. It's like, well, what am I doing in here? How am I reacting? How am I responding? How am I showing up in those moments? And so to me, a conscious relationship is where you are taking responsibility of what's going on in your life and that you're actively co-creating with your partner the life that you want for yourself and each other and the world around you.
It sounds so ideal, but I have never been, I was married for a really long time to somebody who had some self-awareness, but like us as a couple, we were just trying to get through. Like we were just trying to figure out how to do partnership and how to have kids and how to, stay connected. And we weren't able to do a lot of that stuff. We're not married anymore. And so I have a fantasy about finding a partner who has the level of self-awareness that I aspire to in myself and in my next meaningful relationship. But like, what is the profile of these couples? Because it feels to me like so aspirational, but like I don't know that I know any couples other than you guys and like a couple other people in my life who are maybe adjacent inside of the intimacy space or in the therapeutic space. what do you say to the listener who's like, I'm partnered, but I can't, like, there's a chasm between me and my partner and what you're talking about is a couple with the willingness to sort of engage on this very conscious level.
It is. It's a great question. It's a great question. There's so many answers and so many different ways to come to it. I'll say to you, like, find a couple, find an Eden night. We've got tons in LA. I'm happy to hook you up with some of them, just so you can be around the energetics of it, because people are like, our members constantly say, people come up to us all the time and say, what are you doing around your relationship? Because I want what you have. So you are right. It is something that's unique and different. And that's why we created this, because it doesn't exist. And so I'm going to get a little bit esoteric here, and this is not to push a dogma or anything else, but most people on this planet believe that there is some higher life form or self or creation, whether you call it the universe or God or whatever your thing is. There's some other entity that's outside of us that if we connect with that, we feel better about our lives, and to some extent. And
call it a higher power, call it whatever.
Higher power, whatever you want to call it. So the issue with most relationship across the board is that we put everyone else first, trying to meet those other people, when the number one relationship should be you and this higher power, which a lot of people say is actually just inside of you. So it's like a good relationship with yourself. Either way, if it's a relationship with God and then a relationship with yourself, those are the number one and number two relationships that have to come first. If they do not come first, everything else falls apart. And you're not able, that's where the consciousness comes. You have enough awareness and consciousness to realize, I have to put myself first, not in a selfish way, but in a way that is self-full, not selfless, self-full. And then the next most important relationship is with your partner. Not your business, not your kids, not your everything else, but again, I got to put my parents first. I got to put my children first. And that's where all relationships go awry and miss the point. And so almost every relationship that we see out there is designed not from that perspective. They're designed from some other way. And that, I think, is the biggest issue that we're facing, and why it's so prevalent, and why divorce rates are rising again, and why, I think the statistic is more than 80% of all relationships, marriage or otherwise, end up not working out. And so it's like a 50% divorce rate, but 80% or more of relationships don't work out because people they pretzel themselves and try to please the other person, versus, like, for you, Aaron, it's like, stand in what you want as a woman and do not sacrifice anything else. You've already been through everything. You don't need anything else again. You've made your success. You know who you are, and you're still uncovering yourself. You're still trying to be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
But do not sacrifice any part of yourself and your practice and your everything, and that person will emerge. But like, when you hold that, it creates a whole new way of being in it. Anything you'd add, Sierra, to, I don't know if I answered your question or made more questions, but
Both.
Nice. Let's see what I can throw into the mix here. I would also say that what an Eden couple is about is we prioritize a relationship. We make it our North Star. It's a shared endeavor. As Rono says, it's a high on the totem pole of priority over what most people would think, like work or kids. And it's about our shared vision as a couple. Why are we together? What is this partnership doing for us that we can't get on our own? And then how do we work with our strengths and our weaknesses together, much like a business partnership in a way, to create the life that we want to lead, to have the family that we want to have the health, the wellness, the wealth, all the things. And I don't think a lot of couples are that granular. They just kind of fall in love, right? Then they do the thing, then they get caught in life, and then there are desires and there are needs, but they're not really addressing them. They don't know, let's just face it, humanity does not have a lot of skills and being able to have adult conversations.
No, no. I think we're in a crisis of that right
Yeah,
now.
we are a super crisis of that. But when you put your relationship as your North Star, it really is about making sure to have the conversations that are needed so that you can stay in harmony and on path together. It doesn't mean that you're working together, but it means that you are pointing your relationship toward the same destination ultimately, and then letting that be the fuel source.
It's a purpose-driven partnership.
It's, yeah, exactly. And we often say you're either growing together or you're growing apart. And if you're a couple and you're not doing the work to grow together, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing personal development work, although that absolutely helps. But again, being willing to sit down and have the conversation and share your feelings and share what's going on and have regular connection points that, again, line you towards your North Star, that puts you, on a purpose as a couple, period.
It's so, I mean, the kind of relationship that you're talking about sounds like a fantasy to me, because I think, my ex-husband used to say to me, we're supposed to put each other first. We're supposed to put each other first. Like, I'm supposed to be the first thing in your order of priorities. But what would always happen, because the relationship was not great, was I would put work first, or I would put the kids first.
Yeah.
And eventually, I was just doing the relationship and servicing the marriage in order to keep us intact as a family on behalf of the kids. And so as a mom, and now as a single mom, myself first and then the kids.
Yeah.
That's my orientation. So how do I make room for what sounds like an epic partnership, which is in my dream world, I have like the great love, right? I'm content with how I'm doing love and relationships for today. But when I look at 4 years from now, when my kids go to college, I will have so much space in my life and in my heart for something big and epic and new. But I can't see being able to do those things at the same time. Like, it's very, very hard for me to imagine bringing a partner into what is my current family dynamic. What do you say to the listener who can relate to that?
That's really great. You got something, Rono? You want me to go?
Yeah, I'm happy to go. Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for sharing all of that and for being so vulnerable around your heart and the awareness that you haven't experienced it. And so it's tough to even wrap your head around it. And you're not alone. I think that the old adage, the teacher appears when the student is ready. So the partner appears when the other partner's ready, and the match, you're only able to bring into your field what you're able to imagine, really. And like from a scientific biological standpoint, your reticular activating system in your brain, that it's constantly, there's millions of bits of information that you're processing on a regular basis. And if you didn't have this thing called the reticular activating system, you would just be overwhelmed. An example of what this thing does is like when you're in a noisy space and I say, hey, Aaron, you can weed out all the noise and hear my voice through that. That's an example of the reticular activating system. The same is true for calling in your partner or manifesting things in your life. If you don't have the awareness of how to filter out all the noise, you're only going to see the same things that you've been programmed to do. And so for you, I would say, okay, what's my 4-year plan right now? I'm going to still be wild for the first 2 and maybe turn that up a notch and get all the things out that I need
Probably.
to. Yeah. I strongly recommend it.
We're going lately. Yeah.
Yeah. Like do it. Double down on it. And then also start again. So in Eden World, we've got multiple ways that you can engage. One of them, Eden World itself, is open to couples or singles, and you can be in the space. And then the couples only space is the sanctuary. But either way, it's still all about relationship and all about those types of things. So start hanging out with those types of people. Start hanging out with couples more, because it'll just, we say a lot of people learn by osmosis in our community.
Yeah.
Just by being around it, it changes you. We've seen so many single women go from, I don't even know what you're talking about, to finding the loves of their lives just by that alone. So that's one thing to do. And then also, like, really just start daily, weekly, over the next 4 years, super simple at your own pace, but just start like creating a list of who this partner would be. So you've met Sierra and I now. Like, what are the qualities that you see in us and feel in us that you're like, I want that too? Write it down so that you know, because now your reticular activating system is going to be on high alert and filter out all the noise and be like, that guy over there's got that kind of quality. Where before you didn't even know to look for that quality.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that's right. You can't look for something if you don't know what you're looking for.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well said, Rono.
I love that. When we first talked, you talked about the 4 pillars of Eden World. I'd love for you to run through what that is, and then, yeah, I would love to understand a little bit more about what your principles are too, as you sort of have created for this community.
Nice. So, 12 principles, 4 pillars. The pillars are the 4 ways that we examine and work in relationships. So it's an acronym, SUCH, and it's sovereignty, so relationship with self; unity, relationship with your partner, your significant other; community, pretty obvious, right? The relationship with our families, our communities, our coworkers, whatever; and then humanity. And the 12 principles that we have is a way of practice. It's a practice that can be applied, any one principle can be applied to any 4 of those quadrants. Like full sovereign expression is one of those principles. And that one feels like a more sovereign based principle. But when you look at how do I express myself fully and not impact my partner, that's a big conversation that Rono and I are often in, because we don't want to dim each other's light. And sometimes I feel he's being X way that doesn't reflect well on me, or I'm being X way that doesn't reflect well on him. And so how do you hold this freedom to be oneself and be expressed, but also recognize you're also in this co-creative unity? And then what does that mean? And that kind of conversation. And then also, community. So how does my self-expression impact community? Is it supporting community, or is it just bumping up against everybody's trigger because I'm just loud and obnoxious all the time, or whatever it is? So it's a way to not only practice the principles with your relationship, but also in relationship to the world, and especially within the Eden community, the ecosystem of the other couples. And it gives us a fertile ground for how to bring this into humanity. Because like I said, we're lacking in relational skills big time everywhere. And so when we can practice it with the ecosystem of Eden in this conscious incubator or container, it gives us more strength to then bring it out into the world and have, conversations that feel triggering or vulnerable, or have experiences where you can receive feedback and not take it so personally, or lots of different things. So, and Ron, if you want to share a couple more principles.
Yeah, I'll add a few more principles. So our number 1 principle is relationship is our North Star, and it starts there. If we can't put our relationships first, then this isn't the place for you. And it doesn't mean that it's not a sacrificial thing. It's a
In service.
fuel source. Like when Sierra's in my, if you, like you said it, like you just focused on the kids and your career because the relationship wasn't so great. So we say it like soaks up a lot of extra bandwidth. So you don't even have your full capacity to move through it. So when a relationship becomes first and that is the priority, it fuels everything else, and everything else just goes well. The second principle is we are each other's beloveds. And that's what makes our community really unique, is because I extend to you, Erin, the same respect and love and care that I would give my wife. And therefore, you matter to me, and how you feel matters to me. And so we treat each other with respect and care and kindness and those types of things. And so that's another example. There's other ones like present awareness and like being present and available. Our last principle is we hold it together. And it means that instead of being out there trying to hold it all together, what if we held it together? Like, and so really having the arms around each other and caring for one another. And there's a whole bunch
and
more in between.
navigating relational dynamics, navigating the ups and downs, the wins, the losses of relational dynamics as a community. And then there's another crowd pleaser that people, it's what's in the way is the way. Right? It's
Oh,
like,
yeah. Let's talk about that because you said that to me and I was like, we need to dig in. Yeah.
right, totally. Yeah, what's in the way is that the spot that almost feels like the most hard to deal with, or the problem that keeps showing up again and again where you question your relationship, it is the thing to go towards. It's the spot that needs to be tended to, examined, connected with, healed, worked on, whatever it may be, because within that lies a path to your greatness, your relationship's greatness, an evolutionary moment in your growth, quantum leap potentially. A lot of times we're told, oh yeah, just ignore it, sweep it under the rug, and we don't need to deal with things. But we all know that that often comes back to bite us in the butt. So what's in the way is the way gives permission to go towards the thing that seems problematic that most of us want to run away from. But
Do
getting
you
the
have an
gold.
example from your own relationship or from relationships that you've seen in Eden World where what's in the way is exemplified?
Yeah, I'll give you a twofer. The first one is let's look at your relationship that you talked about with your former your husband. He
I like that. I'm gonna take that. Can I have that?
totally. I can't
He is
remember who I
my
got it
husband,
from, but
big
it's
time.
it's lovely. What was in the way was he didn't go about it in a way that was supportive or helpful, which is you're supposed to put me first. So that great. You really inspired me to put
That's
you
hot.
first.
I'm
Yeah,
definitely
it's
wanna
so
do that
hot.
now.
I'm wet. Let's have
Yeah.
sex now. Yeah, not happening. And so
Oh, sorry. Is that all it is? Oh, I'm supposed to put you okay. Yeah, go ahead.
and so, but that is what's in the way. So if you were in our community, we were working together or something like that, we would really look at that and like, okay, well, what does that really mean for you, Mr. Husband? And what are you really asking for? What are the things that you're not getting or that you feel are important? And how can you bring that yourself? How can you bring that forward? And then for you, Aaron, what's in the way of you putting him first or putting the relationship first or all of those things? And in that is so much gold and so much
Yeah.
awareness, which creates consciousness, which creates all these opportunities and pathways for growth.
Pathways
So that's
to
an example for
intimacy.
you. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Sierra,
I
do you
love
have
that.
one of like one in the community that might be
Or for us.
relevant or helpful? Or for us, yeah.
Yeah, for us, what's in the way is we have a pattern in our intimate relations because we've known each other our entire lives because we grew up in the same hometown. We became business partners on top of that friendship before we became romantically involved, and then we got romantically involved, and we very easily fall into the friend box or the business partner box. And even though our intimacy, when tended to, is amazing and next level and just such healing and just
So yummy.
so yummy and so good, if we don't work on it or make it a priority as more than we even think we should, right? More than we think even our appetite should, it becomes problematic and everything begins to wilt. And so
And I even start thinking like, I don't even know why I'm in this relationship. Like from perfect bliss to what am I even doing here? Clearly you're not into me. You don't like me. Like all the old stuff comes up.
right. And so sometimes we've had conversations, and even recently, a conversation of, are we really meant for each other? Maybe there's a better situation for one of us because Rono wasn't getting a certain need met in that regard, or I wasn't getting my certain need met in that regard. And instead of, most people think, oh, let's go outside of this relationship to fix it, we're like, well, then what's in the way? And every time we've doubled down to go toward that pattern, really, but problematic pattern.
And it's not for the faint of heart too. Sorry to interrupt. Like it's
Yeah.
a big one. Like if I'm like, hey, I'm
sounds
not getting what I
really hard
need.
to me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super hard. And it brings up all the stuff. But like Sierra said, we double down on it and
And we discover more and more and more places in our relationship where we can play and partner more in this endeavor. And that expands how we feel connected. It expands my repertoire of what I can give and what I can actually even gain in return. And places and things that I wouldn't even ever have figured out or thought of outside of going toward that issue. And like, for example, even like dom sub play sometimes. Like we're working with, well, can Rano just tell me what he needs and tell me to do it and let me just do it versus me trying to figure out what he's
After
needing.
15 years of her saying, "Don't tell me what to do," now it's like, "No, tell me what to do."
Well,
So
I'm like, tell me what to do. It's never been around the bedroom. It's always been like, don't tell me what to do, like in life.
sure, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Oh
So,
yeah, I'm so like you're not the boss of me in my regular life, but in the bedroom, you're the fucking boss of me.
right.
Like,
Right.
yeah, you got to know what's going to light the fire. Yeah.
Exactly. And if he's not getting certain things met, it's because he hasn't been asking for it and or he hasn't been forthcoming with like, no, give this to me now. I take direction very well. I really do. I'm a good doer. I'm like, just tell me what to do. I say that in our business all the time. We're like ideating, planning. I'm like, you know what, everybody, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I'm done with the ideating. I need to just get to it. So the same is true for me in the bedroom and with our intimacy. If you know what you want and you're not getting it, tell me it. Don't just tell me it. Tell me to do it. Like, Sierra, get on the bed with me right now. Put your hands on my chest and just love me. Okay, great. I can do that.
Right.
I can do that almost always. Okay, cool. How long is it going
Right,
to
but
take? I
that
don't know.
takes that's a real sense of safety in the relationship where you know that when you ask you'll be received.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of wounding happens in couples where people ask and then they aren't received and then what do you do, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, couple dynamics are so because they operate outside the bedroom and in the bedroom, and you're most revealed with your person. You know, there's so much potential for closeness, and then there's so much potential for harm.
Yeah.
Totally. And that's why, again, we say you have to be hanging out with other couples that are willing to have the conversations about when those harms happen. Because it doesn't matter. Like, we have members in our community that are 25 years old. We have members that are 82. And some of them have been together for 30, 40 years, and they're still working on their relationship because after 30 years, 40 years, they're like, we've been in this damn pattern and she just won't listen to me. And she's like, well, he's not listening. Like, we got that kind of thing, you know, grandma and grandpa, like that you're used to seeing them, or your mom and dad, and you're just like, well, they're just going to die that way, and that's fine. But they're willing to do the work. And we have brand new couples and of all different age ranges that have been together for, you know, a year. And they're like, how do we do this and not mess it up? This is our third, this would be my third. I've already had 2 marriages. I don't want to mess this up again. How do I get it right? It's so much easier when you're just having this conversation, like as casually as we are right now, about relationship.
Yeah, I love that so much. I love that so much. So what is it that Eden World offers? You have retreats, you have online workshops. Like, talk about that a little bit so that it's less abstract for the listener.
Yeah. Do you want me to go, Sierra?
Go for it.
Yeah. So we have both online and in-person things. Our sanctuary community, we just converted it into a nonprofit this past year so that we could then give away the sanctuary membership and availability to couples for free. They can come and experience a monthly workshop on a weekend. It's all day Saturday and then some on Sunday, and you can come to all of it or parts of it. Once you become a member, you just have to become a member, which is no cost. And that's a big way to do it. And then we also bring in experts like you, Aaron, to teach to the community. And those are also available to the greater community and singles. So that's one aspect. And then we have a higher tier, which is a more exclusive membership because it's a very specific type of couple that's more in the entrepreneurial space, that are up to big things, that are...
That's the power couples.
That's the power couples,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's called V Club or Visionaries Club. And we go a little bit deeper in a different way because we're working with power dynamics in a different I don't want to say a level. It's not better or worse. It's just that these couples they're not fighting over who's taking out the trash and how to do those particular aspects of their relationship. They're like, okay, I'm going to be in Bali for this speaking gig, and what are we going to do with the kids? And I can meet up with you in, over here it's just a different conversation that we're in. And many of them have already scaled and sold their companies, and they just want to be around these other couples. Others are like Sierra and I that are still building our empires, and then other couples that are just getting started. And we do live retreats. Every quarter we do a retreat in different parts of mostly the United States, but sometimes in different aspects of the world. And there's something for everyone. We've really developed this over the past 8 years, that wherever you're at in your relationship or your relationship journey, you can tune in and step into some part of it, whether it's online or virtual. And again, from no cost to we'll create anything you want. You just give us the price tag and we'll create something for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I understand you have a couple of free gifts for our listeners, some PDFs about the principles and date nights. Will you talk a little bit about epic date nights?
Ooh, yes, epic date night. It's our favorite thing ever. So as I mentioned, our business and our friendship is an easy place to fall back on, but we have to work on our intimacy. And what we created in order to give us a container to do that on a regular basis is something we call the epic date night. And the epic, it doesn't have to be a night, it could be a day, the epic date. And epic is an acronym that's basically four quadrants, if you will, that you can play amongst. And the whole thing makes up a formula that when you step into each one of these, which I'm about to name, you can have a very fun, very playful, very sexy, very vision focused power session where you get to know each other deeper. And epic is erotic, playful, intimate, and creative. So I'll start with we often start we can almost go backwards. Oftentimes we'll start with the
Sierra
creative.
is the sensual, energetic, and that means that we ain't getting right to sex or erotic right away. There needs to be some warm up and a lot of, like some time to, warm her up
Get to the
idea of
erotic.
being erotic.
Although just yesterday we did an epic, and we call them epics. We just do an epic, and I thought maybe we could start with some of the erotic and do the creativity with the erotic. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm recreating my path on this formula.
All right, this is great news.
Rono's like, yes,
Please, like,
Finally, no.
I have so much build up.
exactly. Although Rono might involve a yab yum, so you better.
All right.
What is that?
So in tantra,
We'll tell you. We'll come back to what a
yeah,
yab
I'll
yum
come back
is,
to
yeah.
yab yum. Well, yeah, it's just a pose in tantra.
It's a tantric pose that you breathe together and sit in each other's embrace and stare into each other's eyes, and so it
breathe
cultivates.
together, run energy together. Yeah, lots of fun things.
Very intimate, and I don't know why I have a aversion to it. It's weird.
I know. We're working on it. Anyways, could be his pathway. So creativity can be, each one of these quadrants can blur a little bit into each other, but they're not as hard lined. But creativity is, okay, what do we want to create in our life? Like last night, we busted out some white paper and markers, and we wrote some things down of like, what do we have a time period right now where we're in the final month before we go from Florida back up to New York. And I'm about to turn 50, as I'm turning 50 in a month as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
A lot of Hotter Than Ever listeners are sending their congratulations. I can feel it.
Yay. And so last night I was feeling into, okay, well, what is the piece that I want to step into? What this next 30 days, I want to be fit by 50. I'm on the path, but I'm not in the spot that I think I want. But I'm like, so what's the spot that I want? And what do I need to create in the next 30 days in order to feel fulfilled in that desire, that mission, that goal? So we spent some of our epic in the creativity of that, like writing down ideas and visioning some practices and writing down those practices and like even looking at, okay, so what, maybe we'll have some solo time over these next couple weeks so that I can be in my space and really listen to myself, really listen for what's needed and wanted, where I haven't given myself a lot of that time to figure out. Now I'm here. It's like now or it's going to happen without it. And I'm like, I want it, so that's creativity. Intimacy, that is making sure that you are learning something new or doing something to deepen your intimacy. And there's lots of different types of
connection,
intimacy.
yeah.
Your connection, exactly. We play games where we ask each other questions. You could get a deck of cards where you just pull a question. We often actually use oracle cards, and we'll open up a conversation just around one pull and talk about it deeply. And so we're getting to know each other in some way more intimately. We play games. We do all sorts of things to activate intimacy. The playful part is everything from, we like to have costumes. We like to dress up for our epic date nights. We like to play roles with each other. We like to get creative and I said the games that we play.
Dance parties.
Dance parties, yeah, strip teases for each other, whatever. Be playful and be silly and be fun and just come up with ways that lighten things up, right? With this personal development, right? Doesn't have to be so heavy. You don't have to be so getting caught in process. Like, how can you bring the playful energy? And then the erotic is pretty obvious, but getting into some things that we're like, we love to massage each other with coconut oil. That's like our go-to erotic play within our epics. And we have a whole like how you set up the bed to do that.
We have
and
a
like,
whole hack for your bed to make it awesome for coconut
Less
oil.
messy.
less messy, exactly. What kind of toys and sensation plays or what can turn up the erotic. And again, the playful can lead to the erotic, right? The strip teases, the dancing, we like to do curtain entrances. We're like, come through a curtain with a new outfit on. Ta-da!
Adorable. Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah. It's like our own private little strip club for each other.
Totally.
I love that. I love the sense of play and the lightness, because I think a lot of times when we think about like how we're working on our relationship, it's like a grim couples therapy session or some sort of forced March date night.
Yes, totally.
And things can get heavy and hard in relationships, and like I think if you attend to it with a consistent intention of like, hey, actually we're here to have fun together. We're actually here to really enjoy life together and enjoy each other together. That seems to be so much a part of the ethos that you're bringing to this.
Absolutely.
Like, first and foremost,
Yep.
if we're not having fun, like even if we're going to the gates of hell, let's tra la la and skip and sing a song on our way there, because like we got to go through it anyways. We got to heal the parts of ourselves. If we want the things in our lives that we say we want, we have to let go of the parts of ourselves that don't allow that to happen. And it can be hurtful and painful. Death can be hurtful and painful. It can also be the most beautiful experience of your life. Because if you think of nature and how much death is such a beautiful part of nature that allows spring to blossom forth, that's the same as your relationship. So let's have some fun. These cycles are normal. Let's normalize all these things in relationship. Let's have these conversations. Let's air our dirty laundry in a safe space with one another. And then we can heal, and we don't have to do this thing alone.
And we can laugh about the silliness of humanity. Just
It's
being
so
human.
messy. Just think about sex. It's so weird and messy
Weird noises,
and funny.
body farts, I mean, like the skin to skin kind. You're like, what?
Totally. Yeah, relationships are so messy and complicated and hard and like thorny and tangled up, but everybody wants them, right? I mean, that's how we're wired. We're made for them.
Yeah.
And so, Hotter Than Ever in its essence is really about giving women permission and ideas for how to do things differently in the second half of our lives. I think a lot of us have followed a good girl script, and followed a lot of rules that we weren't even conscious we were following. So what do you want the listeners to take away from this conversation about what's possible in their relationships, current or future?
That is such a good question. I think I'm going to go on the lighten up part of things, right? You said it so well just now. We think that these things have to be hard. We're brainwashed into believing dating's hard, relating's hard, mating's hard. And what if it wasn't? Really, what if it wasn't? What if you could be playfully, joyfully experiencing dating life without this like need to have it be something, or your relationship. Where can you lighten up and have more fun and be silly with your partner, where you'll remember, like, laughter is medicine. It is such medicine. So no matter where you are in the scope of, maybe you're healing from a broken heart or a broken relationship and you feel like you'll never love again, well, how can you really, have some fun with yourself for a bit, no matter what you think. Just lighten up on these stories, watch the stories, and find ways to bring joy back into the experience, whatever it is, the dating, the mating, or the relating.
I love it. I love it. Rono, do you have anything to add before we
Yeah,
end?
I would piggyback off of what you said, Sierra. Like I've seen it firsthand when you add a little. Sierra jokes that she loves the spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, and that sugar's laughter and joy. And so we've seen it firsthand transform many women's lives and men's and relationship. And I think what I would add to it as well is that there's been times in my life where I didn't believe this because I was stuck for a long period of time. But I'm very aware that whatever this playground of earth is, that we truly can create anything that we want. And, if Oprah Winfrey can go from a very poor, impoverished woman to the woman that she is today, as an example, and all of these people can have these great relationships or build this wealth or build all these things, like, you really can create whatever you want. And if you don't believe that, then start there. Then that's the biggest amount of work that you can do on yourself, is changing that story, that belief that you can't have what you want, that you can't have this great relationship. And if you do that work, you'll be surprised at how that's like the taproot. If you change that, everything else in your life will change. So wherever your belief is, really look at that. Whose belief is it? Is it really your belief? Or where did you pick it up, and why are you still believing it?
And is it serving?
Yeah, Aaron, you deserve the most fulfilling, loving life possible and partner possible. And you are a sweetheart. You have a heart of gold. You care. You're a great mom. You're all of these things. So you just have to believe it and start putting yourself in situations where you can start seeing it and feeling it. And then, like, I can't wait to hear what happens in 4 years, or sooner.
I'm glad we're recording this. I'm going to need to hear that again. Thank you both so much. It's been a very inspiring conversation. I think the listeners to this podcast are here to be inspired about what's possible. I think we have a lot of limiting beliefs around what is possible in life and in love, and you are a stand for something really gorgeous. So thank you.
Our pleasure. Thanks so
For
much.
seeing us.
Thanks for listening to Hotter Than Ever. I hope you enjoyed this conversation about how to have a more successful, intentional, inspired, and joyful partnership. Is there someone in your life who needs to hear this conversation? Someone who, maybe like me, wonders if this type of relationship is even possible, if it is a figment of our imagination? Rono and Sierra prove that it is. Their community is full of the kind of couples that we're talking about here, who have the kind of love that you or your bestie may be dreaming about. So share this episode with them and prove all of the negative Nellies in your life wrong. Go ahead. Oh, wait. Notice that's the little button at the very top of your podcast. Yeah. That's it. You got it. Hotter Than Ever is produced by Erica Gerard and Podkit Productions. Our associate producer is Melody Carey. Music is by Chris Keating, with vocals by Isa Fernandez. All right, I'm going to go work on my relationship vision board. So if any of you have any magazines with interviews and full photo spreads, preferably naked, of Pedro Pascal or Jason Momoa, please feel free to send them my way.